Good evening and welcome to Poland Daily. I'm Nicholas Richardson and this is the news. Pope Francis is visiting Iraq, one of the oldest countries in Christianity. This is the first ever visit to Iraq by the head of the Catholic Church. In the Cathedral of Our Lady of Salvation in Baghdad, Pope Francis met bishops, clergy and religious leaders and stressed the importance of sowing seeds of reconciliation and fraternal coexistence that can lead to a rebirth of hope for everyone. This church is symbolic because over 10 years ago terrorists attacked it, murdering 48 worshippers, including women and children, and 2 young priests. Today, the cathedral welcomed the Pope on this historic visit. From the 1st to the 7th century AD, the country was Christian. Before the 1991 war, about 1 million Christians lived in Iraq. In the present conditions, a precise number is impossible to obtain. Some analysts speak of about 500,000 to 1.5 million Christians. However, US data suggests a far smaller number of about 250,000. Iraq's Prime Minister, Mustafa al-Kadhimi, welcomed Pope Francis at the airport with a red carpet, Iraqis in national dress, and songs from a largely unmasked choir. Pope Francis urged the authorities to facilitate national reconciliation. The crises facing Iraq can be overcome by building a society based on fraternal union, solidarity and concord through concrete acts of care and service, especially for the vulnerable and those most in need. After a crisis, what will help us to rebuild the world better than what was before is the virtue of fraternal solidarity and coexistence. Christians also came to Baghdad and lined the airport road as the Pope's convoy, heavily chaperoned by police motorcycles, left for the city. This is a 3-day visit. On Saturday, the Pope will fly south to the Shia holy city of Najaf, where he will visit Grand Ayatollah Ali al-Sistani. The 90-year-old is the prime martyr, or spiritual reference for millions of Shia in Iraq and elsewhere. Pope Francis will then attend an interreligious meeting at the ancient site of Ur, traditionally believed to be the birthplace of the prophet Abraham. Sunday will see him travel to the northern city of Mosul. He will say a prayer of suffrage in Church Square for the victims of the war with Islamic State, which left tens of thousands of civilians dead. There have been 15,831 new coronavirus infections in Poland over the last 24 hours and 263 further deaths. This brings the total number of infections to 1,766,490 and the total number of deaths to 44,912. More positively, 1,459,564 patients have recovered. While Europe lacks sufficient coronavirus vaccines, it turns out the big pharma companies, which took European Union funds to speed up the development of the drug, now prefer to sell the sought-after vaccines to the highest bidder rather than keeping to their contracts. Countries have to react accordingly, and the Polish government is now considering extending the time between the administration of the first and second doses of the vaccine. The government unveiled a detailed schedule for the immunisation against COVID-19 in March. Teachers should all be vaccinated by the 7th of March. On the 8th of March, the supplementary vaccination of medics starts, and on Wednesday, 10th of March, the registration of chronically ill patients for the vaccinations that will start on March the 15th. Next in line is a group from age 65, as well as members of the uniformed services. The group of patients suffering from chronic diseases will include dialysis patients, oncological patients, mechanically ventilated patients, patients qualified for transplants, and those after transplant. Patients will receive electronic referrals sent from the ministry system. We will inform patients when such referrals are issued. According to experts, vaccination is the only solution to curb the spread of the virus. Vaccination is the only way to reduce the number of cases and deaths, but the number of vaccinations is still too small to hope for an end to the epidemic. So far, over 3 million vaccinations against COVID-19 have been delivered, and over 2 million patients have received the first dose. For many, this vaccine has become such a concrete measure that it is treated as something that fights the pandemic. The vaccine gives hope and reduces the level of anxiety, but you have to remember that we are at a special moment. It is important that we get vaccinated because it will unlock us, allow us to go to the cinema, to the theatre. When everything is established that it's okay, you just have to use it. That's it. I am already vaccinated with the first dose. The Government Medical Council extended the time between the first and the second doses of the vaccine. In the case of the AstraZeneca vaccine, it will be 12 weeks, and for Pfizer, 42 days. People who have recovered from COVID-19 will receive one dose after 6 months from the first contact with the virus. In the north-westernmost part of Poland, there are two islands, Uznam and Wolin. 2 years from now, they will be connected by a tunnel, the excavation of which has begun today. The investment will replace the passenger and car ferries that operate the two crossings, but also demonstrate how determined the government is to modernize the country.
My late brother said that a strong West Pomerania is the Polish raison d'etat. These are important words that guided him. We are also guided by them when we pursue our policy towards this region. These words express the desire for Poland to be a homogeneous country, an integrated, unified and strong state. This is our goal that we pursue everywhere in Poland, also here in Świnoujście, also through the construction of this tunnel and other projects that we will complete here.
W nieodległym czasie będzie na tej ziemi zachodniopomorskiej zbudowane.
Tak jak wzmocnienie wybrzeża.
Just as strengthening the coast was the dream of our ancestors 100 years ago, so we continue to do so. Our dream is a strong coast, which is not only a window to the world, but also strengthens our development opportunities. It strengthens as quickly as has been happening in recent years with Polish ports, coast and infrastructure. We are aware that it is not easy and that the difficulties are increasing, but we also know our goals, and our goals are to be a cohesive, integrated, prosperous, strong and safe Poland.
Zintegrowana, Polska dostatnia, silna I bezpieczna.
That's the news. Thank you for watching. Stay with us for the weather, join me on Poland Daily Business and watch other programmes. But from the news, it's have a good night and a better tomorrow.